Definitely we update.
Dr. Corinne Capuano, Director for Technical Support of WHO. Bonjour, madam. JSP Quibos LSTs. Mr. Joe Pilgrim from the World Food Program, and the Ministry of Health team that are here, and also Suva City Council, members of the media, and respected stakeholders. As I speak, we've had 1 out of our 32 cases was a healthcare worker. So if you look at our percentage, it's 9%. And Dr. Capuano has talked about in some countries around the world that up to 20% or even more of the cases of COVID-19 that they've had have been in healthcare workers. And that is one of the reasons why we're here today, the importance of having adequate, safe, and competent personal protective equipment. And that has been found to be one of the preventers of health workers being susceptible to COVID-19. We are always grateful and very grateful to receive a huge medical supplies donated by WHO today. We are currently stockpiling all our supplies. As you're aware, in the midst of COVID-19 and the intervening months, there was global shortages of supplies and also medicines because of the challenges that were happening worldwide in countries that were in lockdowns that were actually where the raw materials and also the manufacturing of personal protective equipment, consumables, and also medicines were. So we've learned that just like any other country around the world, that we have to stockpile. We're also very grateful that there are countries locally that are beginning to look into this area. And we've seen simple things such as hand sanitizers being made locally. It's indeed a breath of fresh air knowing that Fiji has received today $350,000 worth, or more than $700,000 worth of medical supplies from WHO and transported by the United Nations World Food Program in order to further strengthen the country's capacity to fight COVID-19. And as Ms. Pilgrim rightfully said, it is a time of difficulty with connections in freight, both sea and air. But the fact that we're able to be here today and celebrate the arrival of these 7 tons worth of equipment to Fiji because of the connections through UN agencies such as the World Food Program, we are very grateful. It is a challenging time for both global supply chain and also for the healthcare workers. But it is a sigh of relief to the Ministry of Health and Government Fiji that we're here today to receive 900,000 surgical masks, more than 50,000 K95 masks, 30,000 face shields, 2,000 protection goggles, and 4,000 isolation gowns to support our hard-working frontliners. And I want to reassure all of us here today, that at no time was the safety of our staff compromised due to a lack of PPE. All throughout our fight with COVID-19, there's been adequate amount of PPE, and also there's, as I've said today, we stockpiled again PPE to ensure that we will never run out. We also, as a government, grateful, recognize the immense effort of Jack Ma Foundation in donating cargo, and the huge amount of medical supplies to WHO is part of the ongoing commitment to support the global battle to combat COVID-19. We realize and acknowledge that this is the biggest single shipment of medical supplies WHO has organized for Fiji since the start of COVID-19. And WHO has been facilitating this kind of coordinated response from day one of COVID-19 response as the market competition increased, commercial flights were grounded, and procurement processes become fragmented. And we've had this discussion with WHO all along that supporting Fiji is also supporting the region. As we are a hub, and there have been people coming through Fiji to go back to their own countries, and people coming from other countries of the Pacific to go back to their own countries outside of the region. From the global perspective, we know that there are nearly 31 million cases worldwide and 1 million deaths. And with the current global analysis, it is now estimated that there is 3.8 cases per second, or nearly 4 cases per second. There has been a reduction over the last month from 5 to 4 to now 3 days interval between 1 million cases. Within the Western Pacific, there have been 4,000 new cases recording the last 24 hours and a total of 580,000 cases. Unfortunately, Guam recorded one of the youngest fatalities in the world, a 10-year-old with comorbidities and 5 new deaths in the last 24 hours. And our prayers are with them as we understand that 39% of their cases currently, active cases, are in their intensive care unit. Furthermore, some of our Pacific sister countries are showing the highest burdens of COVID-19 in the world. And within the Pacific, we know that French Polynesia have about 119 per 100,000, Guam 119 per 100,000, USA 64 per 100,000, New Zealand has been less than 1.8 per 100,000, India 33 per 100,000, and Fiji is sitting at about 0.035 per 100,000. Briefly, with the Pacific, ongoing community transmission is a challenge for some of the countries in the Pacific. Overall, there were 93 new cases in the 24 hours, mainly in Guam, French Polynesia, and CNMI. It's been 159 days since the last community case in Fiji, and I've said it yesterday that we've looked at it and we know that we really didn't have community transmission because all the 32 cases, and especially the ones that were in the first wave, there was an epilink. And because of that, we really believe that we didn't have truly community transmission in a sense that those who were picked up in the community had an epilink and there was none that didn't have an epilink. Our teams since then have continued to move in the community to make sure that we are reaching the unreached. And we are preaching not only COVID-19, but also communicable diseases and our normative functions around NCDs, making sure that our children get vaccinations, making sure that our pregnant mothers get to be seen on time. We'll continue to monitor the community and strengthen our surveillance systems. This week, we have screened more than 10,000 people through tests by this week. And that's more than 1% of our population, including the repat flights and those who need to return to their country or our country to unite with their loved ones. Frankly, with our neighboring countries, we have a very robust screening process at our multi-stakeholder borders and our border control unit. We also assisted our sister countries in the Pacific as they enter our border to go on to their own countries. In addition, we continue with the community surveillance in the fever clinics. We have hospital-based surveillance, frontline staff surveillance, which I've said yesterday means that we are testing those in the front line regularly, soldiers, the nurses, the hotel staff. We also have sentinel surveillance using case definitions. The clinical and public health teams continue to conduct community outreach with the support of government and non-government agencies. As of yesterday, I was in Namarantele, where our team has been recently. In the Ba subdivision, this is now the 7th week of taking out all the essential services, working hand in hand with other agencies into the community to ensure that we leave no Fijian behind. The Fiji government will continue to display resilience in protecting everyone in this unprecedented pandemic period. And at the same time, we continue to work hard through our remodeling framework to reach the unreached. We continue to thank WHO and our development partners and the World Food Programme for the never-ending support to the Fijian government, especially for this pathway to economic recovery and keeping everyone safe. Nabulebu. Okay, thank you. Can we just give a round of applause?